Ever since its first electric car, the first generation Tesla Roadster, went on sale 11 years ago, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has been very clear about Tesla's goals to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. To achieve that goal, Tesla has maintained that it needs to make electric vehicles and energy storage systems for everyone, not just the wealthy. To fund that goal and bringing the economies of scale down to a point where affordable mass-market electric cars and energy storage products are truly viable, Tesla has always operated a top-down development model, first launching high-end products before then trickling down to produce more affordable variants over time. The Tesla Model 3 was meant to be Tesla's first truly affordable electric car, with a headline-grabbing starting price of $35,000 before incentives. For that price, Tesla said you'd get the Tesla Model 3 standard range, its entry-level Model 3 variant with a range of approximately 220 miles per charge. It was that headline-grabbing price and spec sheet that led many people to put down $1,000 of their own money to grab a space in the Tesla Model 3 reservation queue back in 2016. And even though many of the original Tesla reservation holders have now gone on to buy higher spec, more expensive variants, like the Tesla Model 3 Dual Motor Performance, which I should note is nearly $26,000 more expensive than the Model 3 standard range, many reservation holders are still waiting for their Model 3 standard range to start production because they can't afford or don't want Tesla's higher-end Model 3 variants. Waiting, that is, because Tesla hasn't started Model 3 standard range production, because it has been following its standard trickle-down production model of starting with the highest spec models and then working down to the most affordable one. During Tesla's Q4 earnings call earlier this month, Tesla CEO Elon Musk suggested that the production of the standard range Model 3 would begin later this year, most likely sometime in the middle of the summer. Then, a few weeks ago, Tesla dropped the price of its current entry-level Model 3, the Tesla Model 3 mid-range rear-wheel drive, with both Musk and Tesla noting that the effective price of that model was now under $35,000. Something I'll come back to in a minute because it requires a little explanation and some clever maths. That already had some people worrying about the future of Model 3 standard range, but then yesterday Tesla removed any mention of the standard Model 3 from its website, at least from its US version of the website. That's left people worried that their Model 3 standard range just won't be available after all, that Tesla has somehow failed to meet its Model 3 target price, and that they're now left with the tough choice of buying another electric car or putting more money down to get the mid-range Model 3 instead. But what does this all mean? Is Tesla gutting the Model 3 standard range and replacing it with the mid-range instead? Are those who had hoped for an affordable Model 3 going to have to look elsewhere? And what happens next? First, let's deal with some basic facts. The most affordable model listed right now on the website is the Tesla Model 3 mid-range rear-wheel drive, which is listed as having a price of $34,850 with an asterisk next to it. Look at the bottom of the screen and it gives you two prices, a $34,850 price after savings and a $42,900 before savings. That second price is the actual MSRP for the Model 3 mid-range. The asterisked price, the one that's given front and centre attention, and the one that Elon Musk has quoted on his Twitter timeline, requires you to factor in the US federal tax credit for electric vehicles, as well as an estimated $4,300 of gas savings over 6 years if you're transitioning from, say, a BMW 3 Series to a Tesla Model 3. In other words, those post-savings figures require you to factor in a total of 6 years of fuel saving and, if you buy sooner rather than later, a $3,750 federal tax credit that you won't be able to claim back until early next year. Eventually, that mid-range Model 3 may have an effective cost of less than $35,000, but you still have to come up with the $42,900 to buy one today. It is, in effect, like those mail-in rebates you sometimes see in stores. Ultimately, you'll pay less, but you'll have to pay that money up front first. I could go into a whole video about why these exist and how they help the companies offering them, but I won't because that's a digression. And I should also note that Tesla's practice of after savings pricing isn't just a Tesla thing. Pretty much every electric automaker does it to some degree or another. And frankly, I hate it just as much when they do it as when Tesla does it, because it doesn't reflect the money that someone is going to need to find to put down to buy the car in the first place. And generally, if you are waiting for a more affordable car, it's because you can't afford a more expensive model. And that means effectively waiting for upwards of a year for half of those savings and maybe 6 for the rest of them. That isn't something that you're going to want to do willingly. All of this, however, does not answer the "Is Tesla cancelling the standard range Model 3?" question. And if I'm honest, I can't answer it right now because I have no official word from Tesla. Every news outlet that's covered this has reached out, and again, at the time of writing this script and filming it, nobody has gotten an official response from Tesla. Additionally, Elon Musk's Twitter account is also unusually quiet. What we do know, however, is that with every trim level, extra complexities are added to a production line, which can slow throughput and ultimately negate any savings made from producing lower-end models. We already know the standard range Model 3 is going to be a tough thing for Tesla to produce and have a profit from. Musk has hinted as much in the past. And it's conceivable that it may be more cost-effective for Tesla to sell those who really want that Model 3 standard range a Model 3 mid-range with a software-locked battery pack to standard range specs. That might seem a little far-fetched until you realise that Tesla has done this in the past with Model S. Not to mention, Tesla has a habit of improving specifications for higher-end models and ultimately trickling prior specs down to lower trim variants. What's most likely right now? Well, it's conceivable that the removal of Model 3 standard range was to ensure that the waitlist for Model 3 doesn't get any longer. It's also conceivable that Tesla will reintroduce that model at some point in the near future. Again, there is precedent for Tesla strangely removing things from its website before reintroducing them slightly revised. But my gut reaction is that Tesla is wanting to remove the standard range, essentially discontinuing it from this point onwards, while honouring those who have already waited in line to buy one. And if I were a betting person, I'm not, Tesla could very well sell those standard range Model 3 customers a Model 3 with a mid-range battery software locked to Model 3 standard range specs. This allows Tesla to satisfy the order books, giving customers what they've waited for, a standard range Model 3, but it also ensures it doesn't lose a lot of money making standard range model battery packs. Plus, of course, it can upsell customers the softer range unlock to mid-range specs long after purchase. Do I have it wrong? Is Tesla planning something special we haven't thought of? Or is this Tesla doing what it did with the 40 kilowatt-hour entry-level Model S back in 2012? Producing what it said it would, but with a few tweaks to get around costs associated with a completely new battery pack design. And if you're waiting for a Model 3 standard range, what do you make of this news? That's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.